So after our big explainer on the Land Cruiser 200, you guys blew up the comments asking for this one. Today we are breaking down its little brother, the Lexus GX460. And don't let that little brother thing fool you, because for most people, this is actually the smarter, tougher, and way more affordable option. If you're even thinking about buying one of the most reliable SUVs ever built, you're in the right place. Okay, so let's just get right into the biggest question about the GX460. From 2010 all the way to 2023, Lexus sold this truck with almost no mechanical changes. That's 14 years. And you have to wonder, right? Was that just lazy or was it brilliant? See, while the rest of the industry was obsessed with constant updates, Toyota just didn't. They decided to perfect a formula that already worked. Car magazines, they called it a dinosaur, but actual owners, they called it bulletproof. So let's figure out which one it really is. First, we need to be really clear about what this truck actually is. In America, we got the big Land Cruiser 200, Toyota's $90,000 flagship. But the GX460, well, it's really a Land Cruiser Prado. That's the version the rest of the world drives. It's got the same rugged body-on-frame DNA, but with a more efficient 4.6-liter V8 instead of the big 5.7. And here's the kicker, the most important part, the price. You get pretty much all the same capability for less than half the cost. And this is the part that's just wild. 14 years. The engine, the transmission, the four-wheel drive system, all identical. Yeah, sure, they gave it a facelift in 2014 and again in 2020 to update the look and the tech inside. But the bones, the actual heart of the vehicle, never changed. And that incredible consistency, that's the real secret to its legendary reputation. So let's start with the good news, because honestly, there's a ton of it. We're going to look at the three core parts of this truck that make it one of the most durable things you can buy, period. Let's start with that engine. The 4.6-liter V8, it's just an absolute gem. It's not going to win any drag races with 301 horsepower, but its reliability is completely off the charts. The best part, though, it's got a timing chain, not a belt, and it's built to last the entire life of the engine. No expensive service intervals to worry about. The water pump is really the only predictable thing to watch for, and that usually makes it to 150,000 miles. That is a huge long-term win for your wallet.
And bolted to that V8 is an Aisin-built 6-speed automatic. Now, this isn't some new, fancy, overly complicated dual-clutch transmission. No, this is old school, in the best way possible. It's a robust, incredibly smooth gearbox that's widely seen as one of the most reliable automatics Toyota has ever used. It just works all the time.
And that beautiful simplicity just continues with the drivetrain. The GX has a full-time four-wheel drive system with a Torsen center diff. That means there are no buttons to push, no hubs to lock. It's just always on, always working, and it is basically indestructible. I mean, this is a system that was designed for doing taxi duty in Africa and crossing the Australian outback. It just happens to be wrapped in a Lexus. All right, but it's not a perfect vehicle. Of course not. While that core drivetrain is absolutely bulletproof, there are a few very well-known, kind of critical issues that every single potential buyer needs to know about before they even think about writing a check. First, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Back when the GX launched in 2010, Consumer Reports flagged it for a potential rollover risk. Toyota immediately issued a recall and just updated the stability control software. Here's the most important thing you need to know about that. After the recall, the issue was completely gone. So if you're looking at a 2010, just make sure that recall was done. It is a total non-issue today. Okay, now for a problem you're much more likely to run into. The higher-end premium and luxury trims came with this adjustable rear air suspension. And, well, just like basically every air suspension system ever made by any brand, the rubber airbags eventually get old, they crack, and they start to leak.
And fixing it, oh yeah, it is not cheap. You're looking at anywhere from $800 to $1,500 to replace a single failed airbag on one side. And when one side goes, you know the other one isn't far behind. So this can turn into a multi-thousand-dollar repair bill real quick. So what's the move here? It's actually really simple. Just buy the base model. The base GX460 came with good old conventional coil springs and hydraulic shocks in the back, which are way more reliable and a heck of a lot cheaper to replace down the road. Seriously, if you have the choice, just skip the air suspension altogether. Okay, so let's move on from those kind of critical failures to the stuff you're much more likely to see on a GX with some miles on it. These aren't really deal breakers, but they are predictable things you should just expect when owning one of these long term.
First up is a system called KDSS. That stands for Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System. It's this brilliant piece of engineering that uses hydraulic pressure to actually disconnect the sway bars when you go off-road, giving you incredible suspension travel. The system is awesome, but after 100,000 miles or so, the hydraulic lines can start to develop slow leaks. Now, the good news is, fixing a KDSS leak is a known repair. Any independent Toyota or Lexus specialist can handle it, and you're looking at a cost between $500 and $1,500. It's really best to just think of this as a predictable maintenance item, not some kind of catastrophic failure. So the bottom line on KDSS is this. It is a super desirable feature, especially if you want to go off-road. Not every GX has it, so you'll want to check for that. And if you find a good one that happens to have a leak, just budget for the repair. Once it's fixed, that system is good to go for a long, long time. All right, now let's talk about a cosmetic issue that just drives owners nuts. On any model built before that 2014 facelift, especially if it's lived in a hot, sunny place like Arizona or Florida, the dashboard material is absolutely notorious for cracking from the heat. And the reason you see so many cracked dashes is because of this number. A full replacement is the only truly correct way to fix it, and it can cost thousands of dollars. Why? Because the entire dashboard has to come out of the truck. It is a ton of labor. Toyota never issued a recall, so owners just figured it out themselves. The most common fix by far is to just buy a custom-fit dashboard cover for about $50. And hey, if you get lucky and find an older GX without any cracks, the best advice I can give you is simple. Use a sunshade every single time you park it. And here are a few other quick realities of ownership. The starter motor, it's super durable, but it's buried deep in the engine, so it's a pain to replace around the 150,000-mile mark. The water pump, like we said, is just a normal wear item. The big side-swinging back door can sometimes have issues with its electronics. And finally, the fuel economy. It's about 15 miles per gallon. Let's be real, nobody is buying this truck to save on gas. So we've been through the bulletproof parts, the potential big failures, and the common stuff you'll see on higher mileage ones. Let's put it all together and finally answer the big question. Should you actually buy one? So here it is, the final scorecard. In the pro column, you got that legendary Toyota reliability, real deal off-road chops, that proven V8, and a super comfy interior, all with Land Cruiser DNA for a steal. But the cons are real too. You got that terrible fuel economy, an infotainment system that felt old even when it was new, and those known repair costs we just talked about. So the verdict? It is an enthusiastic, absolute buy. The value here is just impossible to beat. You are getting 95% of the capability, the reliability, and the prestige of a full-size Land Cruiser for literally half the money. In a world of complicated turbocharged engines, this GX really is the end of an era. It's the last of the simple, naturally aspirated, just plain bulletproof V8s. And all those problems we mentioned, they're well known and they're manageable. And really, that just leaves one final thought. For $25,000 to $45,000, can you honestly name another used SUV out there that can tow a boat, climb a mountain trail, and haul your family around for 300,000 miles with this kind of proven V8 reliability? I mean, really think about it. You'd be pretty hard-pressed to find one.